Hi, welcome to T-Bad's Trucks and Stuff. Today, I'm going to start assembling my 1988 F-150 here. And we're going to start with the cab since it's the biggest part, and then everything goes around it. We'll get the cab on there and then start finding more parts and add them as we find them. So let's see how this goes. A lot of the time it's pretty difficult to figure out how to pick up your cab. But I got 4 good points here, and I'm gonna use my cherry picker. And with the glass out, it picks up really nice. If the glass was in and the dash was in, it's always tippy and wants to fall this way. But this should work pretty good to get it up off the trailer here and over onto the frame. Wow, look at the red frame to the white cab. That's going to be nice. With the red wires and the blue motor, transmission, wiring harness. That's nice to see. I just threw on some small tires so it's easy to move around. I got my wiring harness started in there. It goes most of the way. There's a couple things I'm not sure where they go yet. And my fuel lines are in there. They were easy to figure out because they have these bigger spots around where the clips go. And then it was just putting the clips in the right hole. The wiring harness, I've got a couple of the clips, but I'm not quite sure up there. It gets confusing when you get up there. But right now I'm putting in the fuel tank on this thing. Gonna just lift it up in there. It doesn't seem like it plugs on the right angle. The original fuel pump that was in here was a low pressure fuel pump, and it was all steel inlet and outlet, and they all rusted away and it's no good. So this is a high pressure one from a 95 model that I'm gonna wire it in here and see how that works. I left it outside for a really long time, and all the ends of my fuel connectors are all full of mud. Same thing on these fuel lines. All full of dirt. Real dirty. They're all before the fuel filter though. I'm just using this throttle body cleaner stuff. Squirting that in there. All over real good. Cleaning them out with that. I'm getting these fuel lines and stuff figured out. The filter's mounted there. The pump here, I have some broken bolts to get out of the bracket for it. And then the fuel selector thing is all mounted up here with the bolts that were broken or replaced in it. The fuel tank's mounted up. It's a little bit lower than it was because, can you see there? It's hitting the cross member that I added. I don't know if that'll be a big deal or not. We'll find out. I put the steering box back on. I still have the lines to go. You gotta fasten them there and over there. And then I put in this front suspension and all of these axle parts. These are all my spare parts. You can see there's no stub shaft in there on either side. This one doesn't have this. It's center shaft, and there's no lockout hubs or anything, just the bearings in there so that I can roll it around. Be nice and careful. Okay, got this back in as just a nice big piece. Is that a hose clamp? Go back to your home up here. And now I gotta go around, get all my body mounts in, get the body mounts up there. It's just sitting on those body lift blocks. So we'll get all the body mounts on. And then I have all my wiring in here now, and the majority of the stuff for the engine bay to be connected. And then next we'll be going in here and starting to install a dash in there. And then I think that's almost all we need. The dash, the steering column, and we'll be able to turn the key and see what happens. I got my two dashes here. The blue one's the original dash, and the red one is the one I want to use. The red one's from a diesel truck, and the blue one is from a gas truck. So I've been looking, and there's quite a few differences in the wiring harness and all the connectors. They're basically completely different. So I'm gonna be swapping the whole wiring harness from the blue one onto the red one. Well, I'm getting a little bit more done. I got the cover on it because it has been raining at nighttime. But I got the wiring all connected up through here. The ones for the frame going where they belong. The ones to the engine where they belong. And I just threw the dash in here. So this is what the red dash is looking like. I switched all the little modules in it, and everything that was in the back I switched from the blue dash. Even the light switch was the same. The wiper one here was different and has a different adapter for it. Some of the wiring's pretty messy looking because all the old tape was falling off. But I gotta run everything and plug it in where it belongs before I can tape it up, because some of these little stragglers, I don't want to tape them off and then they don't reach what they're supposed to. This is what I'm working with for my bolts. I kind of got them spread out so I can put them in little groups. But it's a lot of finding where they go, or I got another cab in the backyard. Kind of the one in the fire pit area there. It's the same year, so I go double check with it. So next, I'm gonna put the original fenders back on, because there's some ground wires. This one, plus all the stuff for the battery on the other side that I'll need to be able to run the truck. I got all my front fenders on here. And I think I got the majority of all the wiring connections that I can do all connected. I just did my ground wire connections. I got a battery and power in here. And we're gonna turn the key and see what happens. So when I turn the key, we should hear the fuel pump up under the floor and the fuel pump in the back, which we can hear two fuel pumps. So I'm going to do this until I get a little bit of a prime and a different noise from it. There, it's starting to change. It's getting close. Well, she runs, but I'm gonna have to figure out why it's such a high idle, and now I'm gonna go around and check for leaks, see what leaked, what happened there. It's got no water pump or no coolant in there, and a few other things. Stuff only loosely connected, so we'll go around and look and see how everything looks now. Here's the first puddle I notice, which is probably the power steering. Transmission lines could have also leaked stuff. Yeah, it looks like it came out of the high pressure fitting there because I didn't tighten it all the way. Oil is clean looking. It's probably just high from it spinning around. It's probably got the proper amount in it. If I unplug this, take away its ability to control its idle, and the idle should stay lower. All the fuel connections seem to be all right, and I don't see any leaks from them. I remember in here, this thing kind of looks dirty in there. I might try and get another one and see if that's why the idle's changing. So you can see when I have that idle air control valve unplugged right here, she idles properly. But as soon as you put it on, it takes right off. Well, how about that? It runs all right with that idle air control valve unplugged, but I gotta find out why it's doing that. Otherwise, I'm missing a couple parts like the throttle cable. I have to find, I don't know where my throttle cable's at. My hood hinges are over there somewhere, buried inside a truck box. And there's just a few other small things on there that I gotta do. This fender I'm not gonna be using. It's got this hole for a snorkel in it. I got another fender, this one over here. We'll use that fender so we don't have a snorkel on there anymore. The original doors of this truck are long gone, but I got these ones. This one, they're both from the same truck, but this one it's got black primer on the inside, and it's not like you can see where I sanded down before, goes brown, gray primer, black primer. So I'm pretty sure that that's an aftermarket door. This other door, it used to be painted brown like the other side. You can see the inside still is, but this one I think is a original Ford one, but it's had a little bit of body work here up on this front corner, and the seam's swelling a little bit, but I'm gonna fix it up and I'm gonna use that door anyways. Over here I got the original hood from this truck, and it's got a fair bit of surface rust. It's bubbled up there. These areas are rusted right through. That's just surface rust on this one, but I don't think I want to use this one because, like the rest of the truck, all the seam sealer went bad and pulled off the primer, and all the seam all the way around is pretty bad on this hood. So I got another hood. This is what I got for a hood. The only other brick nose hood I got around here. They're all from the same parts truck, but it's got problems. Like, it had the same thing as the other one, the seam sealer problem, and the seam sealer is breaking off, and same along the front lip. Somebody's already done some body work to this one once when it got its white paint job, but it's bubbling through a little bit over there, plus this edge here. So I don't really like this hood, but unless I find a better one, that's the hood I'm going to be using. There's our original front valence. It don't have any rust on it really, maybe that little surface rust, but it's got this big dent, little split in it. It's all wavy and covered in overspray, but the little plastic pieces on the bottom are good. The 4x4 emblem's good. This front valence thing for under the headlights and grill that I got is from my diesel parts truck that I used to have, that all the other white parts have come from. Okay, we got a change of plans. I just got these doors. They're off of a 94, but they got the nice bigger swing out mirror that my 88 F150 had whenever it was new. So I'm going to use these two doors instead of those brown ones. And I got a question. I was just wondering, see at the bottom, these ones are nice and smooth. All the older ones I got are nice and smooth. But is it only a 95 and 96 that you get this body line on the bottom of the door? Whenever using these 94 or like Aero style OBS doors on the 88, the door handle or the window handle there it doesn't match, and it's gonna stick out a little bit extra, and I think I have to swap this rubber piece over, and then it'll go on all right. Also, the little wing window is different. I'll swap in one that is round on the front corner. Then it was a good score on these door panels, because this is the same color as my mud truck, and one of these parts for the bottom here with the carpet on it is all ripped up in there. I found one of my original doors from the 88 F150. This is the passenger side. It's got a big dent that matches the dent on the fender. The bottom's all rotted out, but you can see that's the original mirror style. This one's got a big dent in the back of it here, but looks like all the screws for it are nice. The little plastic things behind, we'll be able to use the little parts from that. And then you can see on the front wing window there how it goes all the way out there and round, is how the brick nose ones were. Over here, this one, the square front on the wing window, that's an Aero nose wing window. I got my Texas truck box for this. It's got a tiny bit of surface rust there, but otherwise it's almost perfect. I made a whole video on that one before. I have a few tailgates around. Some are in pretty good shape, but this one is the only one that has the stamped Ford letters in it that came on the 88 F150. So it's got a lot of rust along the bottom edge there. The seam's gone. The little piece tucked into the seam is gone. There's bad Bondo on here. This was where it was Bondoed before. This is Bondo that I did a year or so ago when I thought about if I can do this or not. And then I put it away because I didn't have any metal to patch it up with. But now I have metal, and I'm gonna do what I can and bring this tailgate back to life, because I think those stamped letters, that's gonna be a big thing that stands out and looks really good on this truck in the end. My fender blew over in the wind the other day. Got an extra dent in it for me to fix. So now that I got an idea of what I got and what I need to fix, what I need to look for, there's a lot of small parts left, like the bushing in the steering shaft or the brake lines, and I don't want just like a wiggly brake line all the way down. I'm gonna get a nice one bent to the factory spec, something nice, so it all looks good in the end, because it's gonna last a long time when it's all done. I still have no good passenger fender, so I'll have to keep an eye out for one of them. But yeah, I got a good idea of what parts I have, what parts are missing, and now it's going to be time to break it down into small stuff and one piece at a time finish this off and put it back together. And I think that's the best way that I'm going to end up with a nice job here, because you can't just rush it, because it's going to be stuck like that for a really long time. So we'll take our time, go piece by piece, and we're going to make a nice truck. So check back into T-Bad's trucks and stuff and see how she goes. The 88 F-150. She's going to be back to life soon enough. See you later.